A late afternoon in year 2021 in Brandenburg. The first gusts of a low-pressure system reach a wind park. At the same time, some 100 kilometers away, staff at the control center are evaluating the latest wind and solar data. Prognosis tools tell the traders how much electricity from renewable sources will likely be available over the next 24 hours. Based on the supply and demand for green power, the experts calculate current tariffs for customers. While the energy trading continues, Anna Tim comes home from a long day at work on this September afternoon in 2021. Every day, the marketing professional drives her e-up to work and back. At the moment, the car's battery is still 30% charged. That's above the minimum level determined by Anna to guarantee her uninterrupted mobility. At this time of day, solar cells on the roof of her home are still generating 80% of their capacity. A commercially available energy management system, or EMS, registers the flow of electricity from the roof. At the same time, the EMS evaluates current power prices from the control center. The system knows that at the moment, feeding 1 kilowatt-hour of home-generated solar power into the grid would only fetch 6 euro cents, far below the 28-cent purchasing price. That's why, at the moment, the EMS decides to use the home's own energy source, the solar power flowing from the roof, down to the oven and other household appliances.
Hallo, mein Schatz.
Ah, schön, dass du da bist.
Solar lasagna.
Und, wie war die Schule?
The EMS also communicates power price data to the electric car. Thanks to the information, the vehicle knows that inexpensive solar power will not be available much longer. That's why it begins charging the battery now, even though the battery's current charge is adequate.
Und, was gefunden?
Meanwhile, the Tim family continue their normal daily routine.
Hallo.
About 1,200 kilometers away to the northwest, the situation is anything but normal. Above-average summer temperatures have caused the sea off Scotland's west coast to heat up more than usual. As a result, air mass flow rates over the North Atlantic have slowed down the approaching low-pressure system. And that has repercussions all the way to Germany. It takes several hours for 500 megawatts of electricity to reach the German power grid. Action is required at central control. Variable tariffs are meant to regulate the supply and demand for electrical energy, thereby creating equilibrium. The Tim family's weekend plans also depend on the weather. And with the current forecast, someone really wants to wash a particular sweater.
Hey! Ich werde nicht wegen einem Teil die Waschmaschine anschmeißen. Stromsparen geht anders.
Na dann eben nicht.
Or this way. Two hours before sunset, a high supply for solar power is keeping the grid stable. Thousands of e-car batteries can be charged without a problem. Meanwhile, the Tims have settled on a plan for the weekend.
Du, wir haben uns überlegt, morgen mit deiner Schwester einkaufen zu gehen. Kommst du mit?
Nö.
Ne?
Tomorrow afternoon, shopping in town, leaving at 9 a.m. with 60% of the car battery charged.
Okay, also
A new prognosis at central control.
die brauche ich ganz
The previously expected maximum output of the wind turbines will now be delayed for
kommen in
over
70
1
Minuten erst
hour.
rein. 70 Minuten haben wir. 70 Minuten? Wir müssen das simulieren und wir müssen den Puffer ziehen. Können wir den Puffer setzen? Wer hat die F5 blockiert?
The sunset, at least, is right on schedule. And as usual, electricity use in the grid reaches a high point at this time of day. Power prices have adapted to the situation. 1 kilowatt hour from the grid now costs more than 40 cents. The EMS communicates this price development to the e-car. The TIMs have determined the battery doesn't have to be fully charged tomorrow morning. So the car decides to make part of its previously stored energy available to the grid. It's a good opportunity. Due to low supply and demand, feeding power into the grid will fetch around 20 cents. And thanks to incoming data, the electric car knows that prices are likely to drop significantly throughout the night. That's why the vehicle decides to free up even more energy. And instead of going toward washing a favorite sweater, that energy is fed into the power grid. The electric car helps the family earn money. And by 9 a.m., the battery has been charged to the desired level using inexpensive power from the grid. The E-Up and thousands of other electric cars now stabilize the grid. A little while later, the wind finally picks up. And consumption falls. The EMS sends information about the sharply lower power prices to the vehicle. The car starts charging the battery, this time using power from the grid, until the desired 60% charge is reached. 7 hours later. Sunrise and time for breakfast.
Und dann gehen wir in die Shopping Mall und kaufen noch eine Jeans für dich, ne?
So far, the TIMs have taken little notice of the communication between the EMS and the electric car. Now an app allows them to not only plan their routes, but also to keep an eye on costs.
1,60 € verdient.
That problem, surrounding the favorite sweater, wasn't such a big deal after all. A short while later, it's time to go shopping. Back at Central Control, it's business as usual. Scotland is experiencing unusually calm winds for this time of year. Unfazed by the quickly changing weather patterns, the TIMs head into town. And they can always change their plans at the last minute.
Die weiße Bluse wäre besser gewesen. Papa, können wir noch mal umdrehen?
Oh nee, oder?